We have endured a lot and stand to endure even more, underscoring our resolve to attain our inalienable God-given right to existence, freedom, pursuit of happiness, and livelihood. The Nigerian state has been anything but an impediment to all these ideals. Hence, our resolve to exit the enclave has never been more urgent than as it is today. I salute the courage of Biafrans in the homeland who have borne the brunt of the Nigerian state-sponsored cruelty, particularly those that have paid the ultimate price and their families. To the Biafrans in diaspora, I cannot thank you enough for standing up for the compatriot and being a source of hope for the defenseless people in Biafra homeland. Those in the homeland who are victims in many respects, including loss of collective wealth to a select privileged few who then turn around to degenerate the people as miscreants. This sorry state of the enclave is the primary inspiration for Mazi Nnamdi Kanu fight for the freedom of our people. A realization that a fix within the current enclave and its institution is impossible. We have demonstrated beyond doubt our resolve to be free, and we must stay focused until our freedom is achieved. Biafra people rights to self-determination, self-preservation, and a secured homeland are at odds with the British imperialism and the insatiable appetite for economic exploitation of the nation on the one hand, and the Arab-Muslim expansionism on the other hand. As our late leader, Chukwuemeka Odumegwu, clearly described in one of his fundamental documents, the Ahira Declaration, these forces at play remain unchanged despite the passage of time. As in 1966, subjugation and unwarranted massacre of Biafra of thousands of Biafrans are the main reason for our agitation for independent state of Biafra, which must confront the dual evil of British imperialism and Arab-Muslim expansionism. The confluence of these two evils in the principal reason Nigeria is structured to fail. It is also the singular reason Biafra freedom from Nigeria is inevitable, even though it is also the greatest impediment. It would be childish to assume that these obstacles have disappeared. However, this time we are probably better positioned to manage their complexities better than before, particularly on the account of egregious activities of the Nigeria state and their sponsors. We will use all available means, known and unknown to mankind, to fight for our freedom. We are already seeing the impact of the sit-at-home, which was initiated to demand the release of our leader, Mazi Nnamdi Kanu. We are going to fight, or we are fighting this freedom of Biafra in many dimensional ways. We are using the political approach. We are using the armed struggle approach. The political approach and the diplomatic approach is the reason why we are here today, gathered in our numbers from all over the world. British imperialism. The British prejudice against Biafra and Igbos in particular played out again recently in a predictable fashion after orchestrating the kidnap, torture, and rendition of our leader, Mazi Nnamdi Kanu. The three co-conspirators had assembled in London to celebrate their feat. The British Prime Minister Boris Johnson, the Kenyan President Uhuru Kenyatta, and Nigeria ex-President then Buhari assembled in London in the summer of 2021 after the kidnap of Mazi Nnamdi Kanu, not for economic summit, not for Commonwealth meeting, but for what appears to be the track glasses of champagne, for a job well done. 2 years after Mazi Nnamdi Kanu was residential to Nigeria, he remained in solitary confinement despite his failing health and two court judgment for his release. Britain is yet to make public pronouncement denouncing abduction and continued detention of their own citizen, Mazi Nnamdi Kanu. Up to date, the sit-at-home initiated to demand the release of Mazi Nnamdi Kanu, and of course, Biafra referendum is having the desired effect and will remain a potential tool in our toolkit until Mazi Nnamdi Kanu is released. In one of Buhari's interviews in London, he justified his policies and marginalization of the Southeast by claiming the region did not vote for him. The British interviewer did not attempt to educate the Amajiri president that a president is for all, not just those that voted for him. Buhari's disdain for the Southeast is epoch, and he would never resist an opportunity to slight the region. Despite making incendiary statements and infamously characterizing the region as a dot in the circle, those with the head of those put the numbers together have now revealed that Biafra initiated sit-at-home civil disobedience is causing Nigeria loss up to 30% of her gross domestic product. This is amounting to tens and tens of billions of dollars in loss. So a dot can translate to 30% of the domestic product. What a powerful revelation. For a region maligned with all manner of names, including landlocked. I also want to inform every one of us here today, even if Biafra becomes landlocked, we are not going to be the first country to be landlocked. Even the imperialist British was getting rattled too at the development from our civil disobedience, from that small dot. If Britain was disposed to a Nigeria president from the Southeast, they would have probably been able to persuade one of the major parties to field a candidate from the region, especially because it was the region turns to produce the next president. Rather, they opted to play the British card. They called P2B to 10 Downing Street and got him leave his party, PDP, and then run under the platform of a French party, Labour. Britain know that P2B could not win presidential election running on a French party platform. But in P2B, they saw an opportunity to use one stone to kill two birds. This particular evil were rejected by almost all of you here. P2B's participation in the sham election will give it credibility and at the same time distract us from making progress with our agitation for Biafra freedom. But all those pranks failed woefully. Let me also remind you that the total registered voters in Biafra territory, which is the combination of the South, so-called South-South and Southeast, were 24 million people. Out of these 24 million people, 20 million boycotted participating in the election for Biafra. The total number of people that participated in the election was about 3-something million. This is a referendum on its own. It will go down in the history. When Biafra has been declared, it is going to be part of our case after Biafra declaration, which is going to happen very soon. We are going to use their own mechanism, their own voting system, and their own statistics to justify our referendum. Our struggle has made giant stride, and we are ever closer to our freedom. The Arab-Muslim expansionism, as variously expressed by northern leaders, including former Kano State Governor Kwankwaso and the current Vice President Shetima, who is, by the way, was the founder of Boko Haram. Marginalization of Biafrans and the Igbos in particular has become unwritten policy of the Nigeria state. The marginalization plays in several spheres of national life, from resources sharing to lack of appointment of Biafrans to sensitive position. There is a scandalous lack of infrastructure in Biafra land, indicating absence of the Nigeria federal government. The few federal roads that exist are poorly maintained. The federal government refused to maintain those roads even when they are completely impassable. Yet, the federal government refused to grant state government permission to maintain sensitive federal road within their jurisdiction. For example, Onitsha-Owerri Road has been completely severed by gully erosion at Onitsha. On the other end of the city, the Onitsha-Enugu Expressway is impassable. In effect, except for the Onitsha-Saba Road, Onitsha town is essentially isolated, and the resultant traffic deadlock can result in journey of 1 hour taking upward of 8 hours. In addition to very inhumane roadblocks by the Nigeria Boko Haram infiltrated security agents. This has been the state of road in the region. The citizens with poor understanding of their right and obligation of their government to them are forced to live in conditions that we considered inhumane in the other part of the world. There is nothing they have not tried. Without exception, foreign investors are steered away from the region by Nigeria government. It is not by error that there is no government-funded industry in the area. No functional international airport, no railroad, no seaport, despite the fact that Biafra covers the largest segment of the Nigeria coastal exposure. Yet, they accuse you because of the civil disobedience for just 2 years. But for the past 50-something years, there is nothing to show for Nigeria presence in Biafra land. There is nothing anybody can do today for us to step back an inch. It is not by error that they are doing all those things they did, or they are doing at the point. In fact, the Niger Delta is the only major river delta in the world without a seaport. By comparison, Nile Delta has at least 2 seaports. Mississippi Delta has 7 of the 50 largest seaports in the United States. the Gang's-2 seaport in the Ganges Brahmaputra Delta has 4 seaports, 2 each of the Indian, Bangladesh part of the Delta. Nigeria is possibly also the only country in the world actively pursuing policies to marginalize and strangulate its otherwise most productive population of 70 million Biafrans, as we have it today. The lack of the national inclusive agenda has been the bane of the country. It's always been different ethnic nationalities pursuing sectional agenda, with those in power pursuing policies that adversely affect the others, again underscoring the absence of nationhood. And any idea of one Nigeria is merely a lip service destined to a catastrophic end. The dangerous diversity must be dismantled for us to be alive. The process of dismantling these particular dangerous diversities is the reason why we are here today. And the destruction of it will start today. Biafra extrication from Nigeria need not to be further delayed. The re-emergence of Biafra agitation of noun liberation was initially anchored on poor governance and marginalization. However, the agitation and the liberation quickly changed to self-preservation after the US-led NATO forces deposed the Libya leader Colonel Muammar Gaddafi. It is widely believed that Islamic militants from that war soon set their eyes on Nigeria, with the invitation of the northern politicians and Muhammadu Buhari when he invited them to enter Nigeria without visa. The wanted power returned to the north. The terrorists under several identities, including Boko Haram, ISWAP, Fulani herdsmen, and etc., quickly established presence in Nigeria. Their first footprint was abducting 300 Chibok girls from their school. The failure of the international community to rescue those girls emboldened the terrorists. Since then, they have acted with impunity and have taken a wide range of targets, ranging from invading military installations and killing soldiers, invading indigenous communities, and butchering scores of people, which has occurred with regular frequencies. Remember, those military people that they are killing are those who are not in alliance with them, because they have those in the military who have alliance with them and has oath of allegiance to give them information, and all agenda is to Islamize Nigeria. It was not long before elements from the north started verbalizing that Fulani in different parts of the world are Nigerians. We all see that on their national dailies and national newspapers, and even in televisions when they come online to tell you that Fulanis from all over the world are Nigerians, with expressed invitation for them to come and settle in Nigeria. These are people that were ranked number 4 most deadliest terrorist group in the world. To settle in Nigeria, they would need land, and to get land, they are not buying it. Unlike the Biafrans, go anywhere in the world, from Nigeria to other African countries, we buy land, we build a house, we pay for it. Rather, they are forcefully invading indigenous communities and forcing them out of their land while leaving many dead. Those that survive the attack end up in internally displaced people's camp. There are millions of people now in those camps, and these rampaging Fulani invaders have had the infantry to still attack people in their camp, in these camps. The Fulani-controlled Nigeria state desire to increase Fulani population in Nigeria explain why the security operatives have not been helping in checkmating or checking these activities of the invaders. In many instances, the security operatives have been accused of aiding terrorists, inhuman activities, as they have not done much to stop them. In many instances, we saw where community leaders come out openly and publicly to lament that during the attack and massacre of their people, the military were shielding these massacres, those killing their people. Retired General Theophilus Danjuma has publicly accused the military of complicity and encouraged citizens to arm themselves for self-defense because people waiting on protection from security operatives would end up being killed and kidnapped by their vendors. After this call, it is only the Biafra people that have lived up to the expectation of many people in the northern Nigeria. And that is made possible because of you that are here today seated. Because of you, we are no longer crying like we used to do in the past. So the agitation and the liberation for Biafra freedom has since shifted from agitation and marginalization to agitation for self-preservation, or at least the latter has bolstered to the former. Despite their unimaginable crimes against humanity, Fulani leaders will go to any length to minimize and normalize Fulani jihadist atrocities in Nigeria. Nasir El-Rufai publicly stated that kidnapping is Fulani people's business, and shockingly linked it to Igbo people dealing on motor parts. This is very absurd. The kidnappers invade communities and abduct people or lay siege on the road, and often unsuspecting travelers are victims, and they are victims. Civilians from every part of Nigeria has suffered and has become the biggest victim, including women and children. People who are not able to pay ransom are killed in front of their abductees and their body parts sold for money. Is this my imagination that Nigeria, in other hands, and the other part of Nigeria, except Biafra, are not doing much to checkmate Fulani atrocities? As being aided by the Nigeria state through their Boko Haram infiltrated Nigerian military. But Biafran frequently run into confrontation with the police, terrorist military, who are not deployed to protect the people, but to kill them extrajudicially. Today we see forceful disappearance of Biafrans in our own land by the Nigeria state. The political class who routinely go to northern Nigeria for the indoctrination and oath swearing have become willing tools, people like Hope Uzodinma, with which the oppressors utilize in implementing their civil agenda against Biafra people. It is only in Biafra land today that you see military bombardment without officially declaration of war. The Biafra land has witnessed air raid, air bombardment, ground bombardment, and even attempted sea bombardment. We have seen them come into alliance with India and many other countries in so-called naval, whatever, military training or building relationship and ties. It is all because of the upsurge of this particular Biafra liberation and the way we have been able to protect our land, making sure that we buy sophisticated weapons. In many instances, these politicians and leaders from the region lack the moral ground to fight for the interests of the people they serve, and in several occasions have openly canvassed for measures that are clearly against the people, or against the people's interest. They have solicited for the military to invade their communities and indiscriminately kill people and destroy their properties. The evidences are there, as you can see on the screen. This is just a few of these documented videos. These same politicians will ironically oppose such measures when other regions of the country are involved or in matters affecting neighboring countries. Very recently, a former governor and current senator, Orji Uzor, who frequently called former dictator Muhammadu Buhari my father, bragged on multiple occasions about getting to Kuno jet from his father to bomb villages in Biafra land, and he actually did it. This particular sin and atrocity against Biafra people by people like Ojuzokalo can never be forgiven. This same senator openly advised against sending the military to Niger Republic when it seems that Nigeria was working with the foreign interest to intervene militarily in Niger following the coup that removed Mohamed Bazoum from power. One of the senators' reasons was that people in Niger Republic are brothers. Does it mean that those in Biafra land are not brothers? Indicating that people in Biafra territory for which he would proudly send military jet to bomb are not his brothers. But these are the people that voted him into power to become a senator. Without them, he will not be at the National Assembly. But he is very quick to order the military bombardment of this particular region. There have been instances of military invasion of villages with associated indiscriminate killing and destruction of property in Biafra land each time gunmen attack military personnel. They run away from the gunmen and attack women and children in revenge. That is not what military should be doing. That is not the rule of engagement. The rule of engagement is not to go after civilians who have done nothing to you. We have our defense forces in Biafra. If they feel that our defense forces has neutralized them, they should go and engage them, because they have a gun, they have machine gun, they have GPMG, they have anti-aircraft, they have many, many sophisticated weapons to use to engage them. So why don't they go and engage those with the machine guns, but no, they go after our women and children. And this is unacceptable. And at the end of the day, our beef with Nigeria is not going to end after Biafra declaration. We will make sure that Nigeria and everybody who participated in the atrocity and the killing and genocide against Biafra pay the full price of law. Likewise, the National Defense Academy Kaduna was attacked by terrorists and many soldiers killed, but there were never a reprisal attack by the military around the community that is hosting the Nigeria Defense Academy. That is something that every one of us, including those who are not here, should be pondering on. How many times have military went out there in the north to kill and burn villagers because Boko Haram attacked them? Boko Haram is not fighting like us. We are fighting a different cause. We're fighting for the rights to existence. Boko Haram is fighting for Islamic State. The same thing happened in Kuje prison. When Kuje prison in Abuja was likewise attacked by the terrorists, again, the heaven did not fall by the military conducting a reprisal attack on the communities in Abuja, like they do in Biafra land. The story goes on, a clear picture of doubt standard, all indicating that the nation of Nigeria, of one Nigeria, is a deceit and unraveled fraud. Hence, our unflinching resolve for an independent nation where security, equity, justice would prevail. Many military officers have been slain by terrorists in the north, and many indigenous communities have also become victims. However, when these terrorists are caught, the government claims to rehabilitate them with virtually no accountability for their crime against humanity. Rather, they are given a variety of favorable treatment, including placing them in the military, police, and custom. By contrast, people carrying flag in Biafra land and agitating for good governance and self-determination are marked as extrajudicial killing, and they call us criminals and terrorists, while we have not harmed anyone who did not harm us. I am very, very proud today that I am part of this particular generation. The Ohaneze Biafra politician without regard for Biafran lives. In 1954, at the Commonwealth Games in Vancouver, Canada, Emmanuel Ifejuna got Nigeria its first gold medal in an international tournament, a feat that was internationally celebrated in the whole of Africa, as he was also the first black African to win such laurel at an international stage. It took several decades before Nigeria could win another gold medal in an international stage. Chioma Ajunwa jumped to Olympic gold in Atlanta 96. In that same tournament, Kanu Nwankwo led Nigeria Olympic soccer team that was predominantly of Biafran extraction to gold, beating the much celebrated Brazilian and Argentina team on their way. Not to forget the exploit of Ndoka Ubade-led Golden Eaglet in 1985 and the order that followed after. The list goes on and on. Yet, we are being neglected as the second or even third class citizens of Nigeria before we started this Biafra agitation. In the last 1 to 2 years, several videos have been circulating on social media showcasing the ingenuity of Biafra youth. I have watched many of these videos with severance. I watched a Biafra youth display 3 motorbike, and also prototype airplane that despite its deficiencies was able to fly. This youth of Biafra, who started having visions of invention in his dreams, could easily be seen as Biafran vision of America Wright brothers. Another of these youth built a remotely controlled drone. One of the youth displayed a stylistic design of a car with intriguing build function, such as rotating the driver's seat to let drivers out. Another youth built an ATM that actually dispensed Naira note. Yet, another demonstrated infrastructural prototype for refining crude oil and generating electricity that actually light up electric bulb. I have also seen another Biafran build Rolls Royce. Most of you have seen it. Last but not the least, another built a pole ladder and demonstrated its use in excavating sand and possibly dumping it in a desired location. A country that is looking for talent to make it great would readily latch into this talent. But Nigeria would rather kill your talent than utilize it. Particularly if you are a Biafran. We see during the war, we developed our science lab at the University of Nigeria, then University of Biafra. We built all manner of weapons. Nigeria, instead of leveraging into that, they destroyed it. For this reason, Biafras whose invention are discussed above, I am announcing a scholarship immediately Biafra is right. Anywhere they are today, they will be the first Biafrans to enjoy scholarship to develop for Biafra. One thing in common with all these super gifted athletes and inventors, they were born by parents, mom and dad, who probably did not have pedigree in their own share of talent. In particular, our budding inventors have parents who may not have had substantial education, talk less of pedigree in science and technology. So when you set out to kill on sight male and female suspected to be Biafran supporters like Nigeria have done, or indigenous people of Biafra, IPOB members, you are unwittingly killing the potential mom and dad that may give birth to that super footballer or inventor of tomorrow. Why is this important? Many Biafran youth that are being slain today extrajudicially by Nigeria police